Hello and welcome to FTB Sports. This is the post-reaction show for Spurs versus Leeds Premier League game that's just finished. And as you can see across the bottom, the score line was 3-0 to Spurs. Well done, Spurs. I'm welcoming my guests. We have Mike, as usual, and Darius, as usual. Go to Mike first. Job done, wasn't it?
Yeah, very much so. As per the preview, from what I was saying, I think if Leeds came to the game and played their usual way, it would fall into our hands, which is what we said in the preview. And I thought Leeds started quicker than actually I anticipated in the first 10-15 minutes. They came out the blocks very quick, and I was a little bit like, I think although we knew they would, I think they still took us by surprise by possibly coming out the blocks quicker than what we envisaged. Having said that, though, they were just set up for us from that counter-attacking play. I think although it was 3-0, my only criticism would have been that it could have been more. And I think, as we mentioned offline, the passing. Yeah, our passing probably could have been a bit better out from the back. But as I say, 3-0 against Leeds, we needed the points. We needed the win. Puts us back in the top four. There's not really too much I can say from a negative perspective. Yeah, I think it was a good afternoon, a good day in the office, as they say.
Yeah. Like I said, we take away a 3-0 victory. We take 3 points from today, which is all we wanted. We had obviously the postponement of the Fulham game, so that's a game in hand for us. I guess we can have a look at it from that perspective. So all in all, a job done. 3 points on the board, as you said, put us back into that top four. Darius, I'll come to you next. How do you think the game went?
Yeah, it went exactly how I thought it was going to go. To be honest, I think Leeds are what you see is what you get. I mean, they're not going to change. So if you know how Leeds are going to play, and if, like I said, I think I said something earlier on. I said Southampton game is something that I believe it will go like, because Southampton were very naive in that game, and Southampton learned their lesson. But Leeds want to attack, and I credit that, and I think it's a good way to do it, because if you actually look, they before the game started, they had 0 goal difference, so scoring as many as they're conceded, and they're gonna win some games. So it works well. But with Jose's team and the way that we set out, and especially the way that Son and Kane are just scoring pretty much everything that they're creating at the moment, it's almost like I was expecting to win, but it was still going to be tough. And what I can take the most from this game is the fact that we kept a clean sheet against Leeds. And I think that's something that we can really look at and say, yeah, we can build off that now. Because if you notice, when we took the lead, as soon as Leeds kicked off, we were like, yeah, we're going for it again. And I don't know if that's because we're playing Leeds and we knew that they were going to be naive and carry on attacking us, but we still attacked after that kickoff of the first goal. And even the second goal, we were still going for it. It was only about 65th, 70th minute when subs started getting introduced. I think that was when we started to, get back into our shape, and the shape that we're known for being in. And I think that's the blueprint that we should be taking into games, especially if teams are going to come at us. If we can attack for 65 minutes and score 2 goals, 3 goals, if you're defending for 30 minutes, you're not going to leave a lot of opportunity for those teams to kind of score 2 or 3 goals, as opposed to if you score 1 goal and then go and defend for 80 minutes. There's always going to be a chance for a team to score. So I think that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the way that Jose chose to set out that defensive shape at about 70 minutes. I think that's a good idea, and I think that's what we should be doing going forward. I think that was the right way. Good tactical decision from Jose, I think.
Yeah. Just quickly on Darius' point there, it was pleasing to see that we didn't defend a 1-0 today. As soon as we got that first goal, the penalty, it was pleasing to see that we wanted more goals. And why we haven't done this in previous matches, we're capable of knocking in goals. So, like Darius said, it was pleasing to see that we've gone for more goals, and then when it gets to like the last 30 odd minutes, we've just saw the game out. And that's what we should be doing in every game. See the game out in the last 30, 35 minutes if we've got a comfortable lead.
It felt like punishment from the West Ham result, because against West Ham we did the same thing, and West Ham aren't as attacking as Leeds, but we still gave it to West Ham after that 1-0, after going up 1-0 early. So I think it was kind of, sounds weird to say, but I think Jose was kind of getting something into those players where it's like, if you're going to attack and concede, then we're going to have to play a different way. And if the players can prove that they can attack and still defend, that, I don't know, that's my sort of perspective of it. I think.
Look, I'll just give my bit of a view on this. Like, for me, Leeds, the commentators kept using the word refreshing change to see this. To me, it was naive. You know, they've played this way all the time. They've scored 30 goals before today. They've conceded 30 goals before today. So now they've conceded 33 goals in 17 games. So it's roughly 2 a game. So again, from my perspective, they made it into a basketball game, and this is always going to be the case. I think we talked about it yesterday. If Jose gets this right, this could be a masterclass in counter-attacking football, the way Jose played. You're right in what you're saying. What he did do better, the team did better, was once we went 1 goal up, we didn't really sit back too deep. We sat back for a little bit, but we always looked like we wanted to press. Now that, to me, came from the way Leeds play. They just put numbers in. They was like, right, it doesn't matter. We'll still put 7 in the box. I'm like, wow, you're going to put 7 in the box and you're 1-0 down, then 2-0 down. And they still kept on doing that. So from my angle, they played into our hands, particularly because we got the first goal. Had they taken their chances, it could have been a very different story. It could have been a little bit more nervy, but it was always going to be, for me, they score, we score, they score, we score. But they just didn't score today. So from that angle, I'm happy that we kept a clean sheet. I'm happy we've got 3 goals, and it shows that from the stats. Just looking at the stats, 64% possession to them, 36 to us. Now, possession is not Jose's thing, but these are the interesting ones. Shots, 20 to us, 18 to them. Shots on target, 7 to us, 5 for them. Corners, 3, 5 to them. Fouls, 15 to 30. So in all the other departments, apart from the possession, we were there making sure that we were competing, and that's really what I wanted to see. I'm not bothered about the possession anymore, because you can still have 20 shots on goal with 36% possession. That shows you everything. We're clinical, we're quick on the counter, we can get players into the positions, but temper that with the fact that Leeds are naive and they allowed us to play that way.
It's the only team in the league that's going to do that, really and truly.
Exactly.
And to that extent, anyway.
Yeah. So coming back to you, Mike, was there anything? There's a few things that I think could be improved. What did you think of the substitutions when they were made and who was brought on?
I would like to have seen the subs introduced as soon as we've notched that 3rd goal. I would like to have seen the substitutes made just after the 3rd goal's gone in. Kane coming off, 87th minute, I think, for Vinicius. I would like to see him come on for. He could have got half an hour today quite comfortably, and it would have been could have been an ideal game for him to be introduced into, just because of the amount of space when we are counter-attacking. He could have had a few shots on goal. He could have had a good 30 minutes for us. I think the only downside is Doherty's second, the second yellow card. I mean, we're 3-0 up. Why is he? It's just, I don't know. I don't want to be negative to him, but
he's not got to the heights we've expected. He's certainly not from what I've expected. He almost looked. I've got it written down here. He looks a bit scared at times. He doesn't look commanding. He looks like he's worried about making a mistake. And when you play like that, you're always going to make a mistake. He has to be a little bit more free. I just look at his face. His facial expressions look like, oh shit, I've given the ball away. Oh, I've done that. And he's almost like a teacher would. You look at a teacher, he's looking at Jose as a teacher on the sideline thinking, what have I done something wrong, boss? And that to me is a little bit of pressure on him. He's going to miss the next game now. So that next game will be the game on Tuesday versus Brighton. So that's automatically for
is that included? So it's not the Premier League?
Yeah, so it's not Premier League. It's just the next domestic game. So Aurier automatically comes in, which then we've got the following week, we've got the FA Cup. So we've got a little bit of a break. What did you think? Because I know when we talked about it before, Darius, in the substitutions and the Wolves game, when you saw Sissoko come on, was you in the same feeling this time when Sissoko came on for Winks?
You'd be surprised. I was actually kind of okay with the subs. The timing of the subs was a little bit suspect. I think Vinicius could have got more time, but then I thought he's just come back from injury, so kind of understand. And also the way the game goes, especially against Leeds, is if one brain switches off or somebody doesn't fill a position that's needed, that one lapse of concentration could cause Leeds to create quite a big chance. And I think Jose's mindset was, this team's kind of rigid right now. They know what they're doing. Even Winks, I think Winks had a good game. I actually don't think Winks deserved to come off. I think it was just a case of legs and Sissoko went on. I knew Ndombele was going to come off because he was tired. But again, he provided something else going forward. So I know why he stayed on for so long. So I kind of understood the substitutions, but yeah, maybe I'm just not convinced by Lucas Moura anymore. I just don't think Lucas Moura provides anything coming off the bench. I would rather, to be honest, me personally, I would rather see an Ali come on. Just because I was going to add to that. More. Do you know what I mean? It's nothing
in today's game. In today's game, given that it was a game so open, it's crying out for a person like Dele Alli to kind of do a similar thing to what Ndombele was doing. This is the time you can play your little tricks and flicks to get past the player, because you need to do that. The way that they press man for man, you need to have something in you, ability-wise, to get past that player. Once you make and beat that first player, there's open spaces and you can run into it. And that's prime example of what Ndombele was doing, and someone like this. Let's just get into a couple of the comments. So we've got one here from Adam Morris. Great result for Spurs today. Yeah, it was a great result. Charles Williams, Spurs need to play like this on a regular basis if they want to make top four. And that's, again, I'll temper that by saying the team dictated how we play today. Another team who've got that amount of an attacking prowess maybe wouldn't be so open and so naive. So
I slightly disagree with that, though, because I feel that would be the mentality to have if you really want to push for a league. But if we want to finish top four, I think this league right now, when there's about 9-10 teams, it's going to be the team with the best defense, because everybody's going to be dropping points against each other. So if you've got the best defense in the league, you're probably going to get a top four spot just because of that.
I'll ask you the question, Darius. Could we play like that against Chelsea and expect to get the same result?
And we could probably win, but Jose doesn't want to take that risk and probably win. He'd rather guarantee a draw or a point and go into a game where he can play like this against Leeds, or he can play like this against somebody else and maybe afford to win. Because I think that West Ham game was a bit of not freak result, but
it was a freak result.
That shouldn't happen again. That should not happen again.
So I go back to my point. I'll just go back to my point about the stats wise. When a team's got 64% possession away from home, they had 18 shots and they had 5 on target. And remember, we had 20 and 7. That suggests to me, had they been more clinical, as I said, their shots weren't overly testing of Lloris, but a better team with those stats, it's a different game, because we only had 7 on target and we scored 3 from them. So let's say Chelsea 5 on target and scored 3 from those, that's a different game, different result. So again, I understand what you're saying about the way that they played, but Leeds allowed us to play that. I think more than us dictating how we played.
I think we can play this way against the teams outside the top. I'd say probably the top 7, top 8. When we're playing the top teams, obviously the way we played against Man City, the way we played against Liverpool, the way we play against Chelsea, Arsenal, etc. I think that's probably the right way to go for us and hit them on the counter. But against these sort of teams like your Leeds, like your Southamptons, etc., although possession, and it's proved, possession really doesn't mean much in the game anymore, because you can have little possession and win matches, which is what we've been doing. But I think it's against these sort of teams. I would like us to. I mean, this is the first. I think, is this the first game where we've had like 20 shots on goal this season? It must be. It must.
Yeah,
be.
Probably. But again, this is
these
stats. If you look at Leeds' games, this is their stats.
It's normal.
It's a normal opposition team. When they even played West Brom and they tanked in 5, West Brom still had loads of shots. It's the way they play. So the way they play, it's either hit or miss. It's basketball. It's like you attack with more mercy.
That is a very naive way of playing, especially in the Premier League. You might be able to get away with it in the Championship a little bit more often than probably what they are in the Premier League. But against the top teams, you can't play in, like you say, like you refer to as a basketball match. The top teams will just pick you off with ease.
So I'm just going to go to a comment here about Charles Williams. He hasn't done a full 90 minutes since November 2019. I don't know if he's referring to Ndombele. Yeah.
What does that mean?
He didn't look pleased when he come off, but then again, he doesn't always look pleased anyway.
He looks tired though. Can't you tell?
He always looks tired to me. But 76 minutes, we were 3-0 up at the time. I don't mind him coming off then.
I don't mind, because you've got the quality that can play. Like if really and truly, Dele Alli, this is his type of game. He should have come off on the he should have come on for Ndombele. But if we're getting 75 minutes out of Ndombele and we're 2-3-0 up, I'm more than happy for him to go off and bring someone else on. I'd rather sort of protect him rather than him get 90 minutes and be knackered and then potentially not be fit for the next game, especially when we're playing every 2 or 3 days. Rest him where we can, take the opportunity, because we've got a big enough and good enough squad. So why wouldn't you?
Yeah, just a quick shout out about the Ibrox disaster 50th year anniversary. So again, comments coming on that. So rest in peace, 66 at Ibrox. That goes without saying. So yeah, just back to Charles Williams. Charles was actually does refer back to Ndombele about playing 90 minutes. Another comment here from Charles. Dele Alli needs to leave. It's clear him and Jose are done.
I was going to ask that question. I was thinking, do you think this is a sign that maybe Ali is out, or do you think he will start the Brentford game, or maybe? Well, I think he'll definitely start the game against Marine. But do you think this is a sign? Because to me, this kind of, like you said, this screamed Dele Alli to come on the pitch and at least kind of make an influence. He'd look better than he would. You know what I mean? Because Leeds would allow him to have that space. But I don't know. I'm just asking you guys. Do you think it's a sign, or do you think it's
I'll let Mike answer first, and I'll answer as well after. Go on.
I don't think Dele Alli is going to go anywhere in January. I know there's a lot of talk about it, but I mean, Pochettino hasn't even been unveiled as the PSG boss yet. So this is all just pure speculation that Ali's going to leave. I honestly think that Mourinho wants to keep him. I don't see why we would let him go. And I generally think we'll see him feature against Brentford and against Marine. I think we'll see a little bit more of him in those games. And that's probably why he wasn't brought on today. That's my opinion.
I'm with you on some parts of that, Mike. I don't think he's going to be going in January unless, as you said, this Pochettino unveiling happens at PSG and there's some massive offer that comes in potentially, or potentially there's some sort of deal to be done loan-wise, because obviously they're going to try and keep a good relationship with Poch if Poch does get unveiled as PSG. I think that will be the case. And then there could be a two-way thing going between the two teams. If I'm thinking more of a tactical, strategical thing for transfers. But Dele Alli not coming on today, if he doesn't start against, who is it we're playing? Brentford, or he doesn't then play against Marine, who are a non-league team, there is problems. So it's going to be interesting to see who plays in that game on Tuesday and then who plays in the FA Cup game at the weekend.
I think he starts strong on Tuesday. I think he starts very strong on Tuesday.
And I'm agreeing. I think he's enough time now for players to recover. It's Saturday. They've obviously got rest day tomorrow, and then Monday in for the game on Tuesday. So I wouldn't expect a lot of changes to the starting 11 from today, but I would want to see one or two, and the one or two might be someone like Dele coming in, potentially resting Ndombele, but I don't think he is going to rest on Ndombele. I don't see him doing that sort of thing. So again, it's how do you fit Dele into the team without disrupting the formation too much, and I guess that style of play that Ndombele brings us. He's very unique in terms of that ability to hold the ball up, turn a play.
Brentford are a good team as well,
and they're decent.
They play very good football, so it might be a bit more of a challenge.
Another comment here. And this is Charles again. Even if he starts against Brentford, he needs to leave. He isn't getting regular game time, and Jose slams him every opportunity he gets. This, to me, is a Jose thing. I think he's either really pushing a massive test onto Dele's character. Is he going to be able to respond to the criticism that's sometimes a bit veiled, sometimes it's unveiled from Jose? He does do this sort of thing. He has done this to players in the past. He's done this to players in our squad currently, and some have responded well, Ndombele being one. Others haven't responded so well, and Dele's probably the case in point. Talented player, but mentally, is he prepared to knuckle down and do what Jose wants? And that's ultimately the head coach, manager, whatever you want to call him. That's his job, to get the best out of players. So going back, do you think we're going to see many changes for the game on Tuesday, Darius?
Nah, I think the starting 11 will probably be, if you think about it, because Reguilon didn't play, Ore will probably play. I think maybe one of the centre-backs will not play on Tuesday. And then apart from that, I think Son and Kane start. I think obviously Bergwijn can be swapped out for a player. So I think the main players who we expect to start are going to start. And then if you're going to see a change, it will probably be either because we're winning or it will be a 60th minute substitution for those players. Because I think all the players who on the, on the edge of that starting 11 will probably start against Marine, because you're expecting, regardless of whatever happens, whoever's on that pitch, you're expecting a win. So I think it's a semi-final. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
Semi-final. I don't think Jose is going to take a risk. I mean, he didn't really take a risk in that game that we won against Antwerp. So I just think he's going to go for it, win that semi-final, get to the final, and then Marine, you can play whoever you want, really and truly. And then I think our next Premier League game is Aston Villa, so that's going to be a massive game. So
massive game. Mike, what's your thoughts on the game for Tuesday?
Like you say, it's semi-final, so Mourinho is not gonna. I don't, like Darius said, he's not going to take too many chances and take too many risks. I expect the team to probably be fairly similar to what we've seen today. Obviously, Doherty can't feature, so you'd expect Aurier to probably, if he's fit and if he's in the squad, to feature and probably start right back again. I was just wondering if Davis will start Tuesday, or whether he'd give Reguilon the start for Tuesday's game. That might be the only position potentially that might be, and Bergwijn's position. I think they're probably the two positions that, other than obviously the right back, they'll probably be the two positions that might be up for sort of a swap. But other than that, I think it'll probably be the same sort of formation, same sort of team for Tuesday. And then, like Darius said, for the game against Marine, you might see a few more changes made just to rest some players. You might see Vinicius get that start that we all want him to have. That's kind of what I think. Those three spots will probably be the only sort of changes that we might see, unless someone gets injured between now and Tuesday night.
So I'm agreeing with both of you. I think there's going to be little changes to the game for Tuesday night in terms of the team. I expect then for the game against Marine at the weekend in the FA Cup to have wholesale changes. I want to see someone like Rodon get a start. I want to see that defense under a bit of pressure. You're not going to be overly pressurized if you're playing a team like Marine. I would hope not. I don't know what their pitch is going to be like. I don't care. You should be levels above that. I want to see Vinicius start. I want to see Reguilon getting into games from an attacking perspective, a lot more attacking. I want Ndombele to rest. This is going forward to the game on Saturday next week or Sunday, whenever it is. But yeah, I think we take away from this, it's a result that we needed. We've got it. Puts us back into a good place, given the teams that have dropped points over the last few games. There's still obviously more games to go over the weekend, and it kind of sets us up nicely now to be able to relax and see, what results are going to come by. So,
I will say just one more thing,
especially with that game in hand.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, the team. There's so many teams close to us at the moment. I really feel like, obviously we're talking about attacking a bit more. I think goal difference might be the key. It might be the big deciding factor with these teams, because like I said, even if teams drop points against each other, if every team wins the matches they should win, it's all going to either come down to whether we beat the teams around us, or it's going to come down to goal difference. So I think, it's a good performance to go off.
Right, so I'm going to come to both of you just to kind of give your kind of final summary on today's performance. Mike, I'll come to you first, and I'll come to you, Darius. What's your final thoughts on the performance? Obviously, the result's fantastic, but in terms of the performance,
I think the performance. I wouldn't say we played amazing. I think we played well enough to get the 3 points comfortably. There's no real negative. I haven't really got any negatives. I can't, in grand scheme of things, you can't really give too many negatives when you won 3-0. You kept a clean sheet. So off the back of that, I think it was a big 3 points that we needed. Got the job done. Back in the top 4. We did what we needed to do. I'll go
pretty much
simple as that.
Your thoughts?
I would just say that this performance should be a blueprint for how we should go at teams a little bit more, even if it's only Leeds. I think we should take the risk a little bit more, because we can clearly see now that we're a very, very good defensive team. Like if you could hold off against Leeds, even if they've had 18 shots, 5 on target, and not concede, and not really look like we were going to concede like badly, there was not any big chances. I think that should allow us to be a little bit more risk taking going forward, and let's see if we can score a few more goals and, you know what I mean, intimidate a few more teams like we used to be back in the day. That's my only, it's not even a negative, but that's my only point to probably take away that's not positive.
Yeah. So mine would be 3 points, all important. We won the game. It sets us up nicely for the coming games, you know, the semi-final and the FA Cup, both of which we're playing lower league opposition. So you should hope that, you know, we can be comfortable in those two games. And that's what I'm saying. You win today, it gives you that confidence to build on. There are things in there that I'd like to see. I'd like to see a few more changes earlier, potentially, particularly when you're 2-3-0 up in a game like this. Because I always wince when I see Harry Kane holding his knee. I saw one time there was Harry Kane down and someone down at the same time. I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? And then they both got up. So whether that's like a bit of the Jose thing where you get a little bit of a knock, just go down, pretend like I said, waste a bit of time. I think so. But I don't want to see that for real. I don't want to see both of them two down at the same time, holding any parts of their body, because you know, we need both of them players. Lisa said, a very naive team. I can understand why they want to play like that. It's very entertaining, but entertainment doesn't win you games all the time. Entertainment is, as it is, entertaining. So for their fans, they must be like, yeah, it's great, but I wouldn't want to be 5-0 one week and then 3-0 the next other loss. You know, to me, that's just too much up and down. That being said, you can only play the team that plays in front of you. And Darius made the point, we showed more attacking intent than I've seen for a while. But let's just temper that just to see how, you know, the approach would be from a team that's a little bit more pragmatic, say, than Leeds are.
Well, Aston Villa is going to be a very difficult game. So,
but again, they're very attacking. But like a man like Grealish, I watched him yesterday. Damn,
I'm scared. They were on par with Man U. They didn't deserve to probably lose that game. But that's a whole different conversation.
That's a whole other one. When we come to that preview. Woo, that's going to be different. But yeah, if he plays, we need to do something a lot different than what we did today. Thank you all for watching FTB Sports, the post-reaction Spurs game versus Leeds United. 3-0 to the Spurs. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Please make sure you hit that like button for those watching later on as well. We need to get all these viewers up so we can obviously continue with the content we're doing. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Darius. Both of you. We'll see you again on other shows. Have a good weekend and let's enjoy the rest of it and watch the games.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, guys.
Yeah.